Welcome to Flash CS6 Tutorial 6 Falling Target Game. This is a tutorial for beginners, meaning that I will explain quite a bit of things that are going on and take my time. When you finish this or these tutorials, we will have made a game like this. Targets come down through here at random. It counts the seconds, and as I hit them, it tells me how many hits I have. When the time's over, it tells me how many hits I made. Naturally, you can change the time and you can change the value of the hits. I want to start by opening a new FLA, keeping action script 3. I want to change my width size to 520. This is important because I'm dealing in increments of 40s, so make sure you have something that's an increment of 40 here anyway. And I want this to be 440. So that's my stage size, and there's my stage up here. Up here under View, click View, and down here it says Grid, Show Grid. Go back up to View, Grid, Edit Grid, and where we have 10 pixels, I want this to be 40 and 40. Okay, come down here, select this layer and call it Border, B-O-A-R-D-E-R. Over in your tools here, there's tools. There's either a rectangle showing here or an oval, but regardless, it's called a rectangle tool, oval tool. I want the rectangle. If you're seeing an oval, click on it, that little corner, get this drop down menu and hit rectangle. So now I have a rectangle. Come down here, this is the stroke, that's the outside of the rectangle. I want that to be red, so click on it, get the eyedropper, make that red. And this is the fill, the inside of the rectangle. I do not want a color there, so click on that, and on the eyedropper, click right here. Now hold your shift down. Hold your shift down and draw a square. There it is there. Pick up your selection tool, double click on the outside of that square, open the properties panel. The first thing I want to do is change this stroke size, make it 3 pixels. So it's 3 pixels, a little bit fatter. And you see this chain, because we made it a square, the width and the height are the same. See this chain, make sure it's locked, and I want to change this to, I want it 5 long, and there's 40 in each space, so this got to be 200, and when I press enter, both of them will change. Come up to, if you don't have this alignment panel here, go up to Window and click Alignment panel here, and it'll open. Mine's opening from here. Make sure this is fuzzy looking, and make sure you have a check mark in this Align to Stage. Click here, that'll horizontally center it, and click here, that'll vertically center it. So now my square is inside this stage right in the center. You can lock this border layer. We're finished with this. Come down here, it says new layer, click that. Call this SQ1, square 1. Select frame 1. Pick up your rectangle tool again. This time I want the stroke to be black, and I want my fill where the bucket is to be some kind of a bluish color. So there's a blue, and approximately right here, draw a rectangle. Pick up your selection tool, highlight it. When you highlight it, make sure that the stroke as well as the fill is fuzzy, because if you just select the center, the outside doesn't get fuzzy. So I want the whole thing selected. And come over, open this properties panel, and make sure that the height and width are both 40. So you see this W in height and width. Again, this chain is locked. Select on one, make it 40, enter. and make sure that these two parameters are an even division of 40. So this one, 160 is good. That's where it is on the X. That's this way. But vertically, it's slightly off. This should be 80. Enter, and now that's exactly where I want it. Close that Properties panel. Highlight the whole thing again. Get that, what I call the crosshairs. Right-click, copy this. Lock this SQ1 layer. Make sure it's selected. Insert a layer. Call it SQ2. SQ2. Come up to the stage. Right-click, paste in place, and it puts it right there. Open the Properties panel. We want to keep the same X coordinate, but now we want to be 40 higher. And with Flash, that would be less of a number. So right now the Y for this one is 80, and I pasted a new one on top of it. Therefore, I should make this 40. Enter, and that goes up there where I want it. While this is still highlighted, and I get those crosshairs, right-click, copy this one. Lock this layer, insert layer, square 3, SQ3. Right-click, paste in place. There it is right there. The properties, it's 40. That's going to be 0 now. All right, that's good. I can close my property panel. While this is highlighted, right-click, copy this one. Lock this layer, insert a layer, SQ4. Right-click, paste in place. Open the Properties panel. It's 0. Now it's going to be minus 40. Enter. And I want to have a total of 7 of these, so I'm sure you can do that. I'll close off, and then I'll get back when I have the rest of those done. I have my 7 squares made, and I'm still on the last one. I just want to highlight it for a minute and show you that my last square ends up being minus 60. That's where you should be if you're following me. All right, so now, one at a time, we want to make these what's called movie clips. So unlock this, click right here, unlock this SQ1. Make sure the whole thing is highlighted. Modify, convert to a symbol. Capital SQ1 shift _ MC. Make sure that center square right there is clicked. I need a capital S there. Copy this, because we're going to have to write code on it. Say OK. Come up here, open the Properties panel. There it is, SQ1. It's a movie clip. And in here, paste in that for an instance name. If we're going to write code, we need to have an instance name. Lock that layer, unlock the next layer. Highlight it. Modify, convert it to a symbol. Movie clip is still selected. We can just paste it in and change it to a 2. Copy this. OK. And SQ2 movie clip, paste it in for an instance name. Lock this one. Highlight it. Modify, convert to a symbol. Paste it in. Make it a 3. Copy it, paste it in, and I will continue and do the rest of them and get back to you. I'll do the last one with you. I'm unlocking the one for this SQ7, highlighting it, modify, converting it to a symbol, pasting in the copy that I have, change it to SQ7, copying that, and pasting in that instance name. There, I have 7 movie clips. Now we got to write some code. Make sure all the layers are locked. Click this top one here, it locks them all. Make sure SQ7 layer is selected. Insert a layer, call it AS as an action script. select one, frame one, open the actions panel. I have mine here. If you don't have it here, go under window. You'll find the actions somewhere here. Action panel, click on it and it will open. And in here we're going to write some code. Type, 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 type. And the code starts off stage, S-T-A-G-E, small s turns blue, period. Add event listener, small a, capital E, capital L, that will turn blue. Open bracket, event, capital E-V-E-N-T, period. This enter underscore frame is all capital letters, all uppercase. That will turn blue. Comma, end frame. That's the name I'm giving it. You can call it anything you want as long as it's not a reserved word. And you'll know it's a reserved word because it will change colors. As long as it stays black, you can use any name you want. Close bracket, semicolon. This is called a function. Function, F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N, turns purple. Copy this end frame, paste it in, because that's calling the function up for me. Open bracket, E, colon, event, capital E-V-E-N-T, that event turns blue. Close bracket, colon, void, V-O-I-D, void turns the same color as function. There's an open curly bracket, and as you start to type this in, down here, it's going to be a closed curly bracket come in for you. And I have SQ1 underscore MC, that's that first square we made, period Y, it's a lowercase y, plus equals 2, semicolon. That means we're running this video at 24 frames a second. If you want to look on the timeline, it says down here 24 frames a second, and every 24 times a second it's going to come into this frame and do this. And what this says is whatever the SQ1 square was, move it down the page 2 pixels. Once you write that once, copy it, paste it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more times, make the SQ1 a 2, make it a 3, make it a 4, make it a 5, make it a 6, make it a 7. So now if we test this, we should see that roll of blue squares go down the page. You test by going Control, Test Movie Test, and if I have no errors, that's going to move down the page, and we want to make sure it all goes right down the page, and that is good. Now let's go back to the main timeline for a minute. Click Timeline, and what we want to happen is when this square gets down to here, we want it to go back to the top. And in order for this square to get down to here, it has to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, which is 200, because they're each 40, plus another block, so it has to move 240 blocks. If I checked it and highlighted it, it's already at the 100 mark. So when this block here moves down to here, it'll be at what's the point on the Y will be 340. We then want to send that back up on the top of the list. Now you may not get this, but I'll try to give it to you. At which time this block will be down here, which means we have to send this block up to the Y coordinate of 60. So if you don't get that, that's alright, but we're just going to do that. So lock all the layers, select frame one of the actions layer, open the actions panel. Seeing it's better than trying to understand it. Click at the end here, put a couple enters in, and type in this code. It's an if statement. We call them a test. IF turns purple. Open bracket. SQ1 underscore MC. That's that first bottom square. Period Y. It's Y coordinates. When you see two equal signs, that's mean we're comparing it. We're saying if it's this. So this says equals 340. And when that square, when this square reaches here, it'll be 340. So when that happens, we want that square movie clip, SQ1 underscore MC period Y, we want that to jump back up to the 60, which would be right there. Okay? so that it can come back over and be right behind that other one. So let's test this out. We might not see a whole lot take place, but we'll see them all drop, and we'll see this one, as soon as it reaches here, jump back on top of that list. So now we're going to make them all do that. Now, if any of these tests don't work, don't continue. Stop and fix your problem. So let's copy this. I didn't get that bottom. I don't want that bottom curly bracket. Click here, put a couple enters in, and paste it once, and make this be SQ2. Click there, a couple enters, paste it again, make this a 3. Now I'm going to do all these with you because it's not worth me turning it on and off again. A couple enters, paste it, SQ4, 4, couple enters, paste it, SQ5, couple enters, paste it, SQ6, couple enters, and final one, paste it, and now SQ7. And let's test this. Control, test movie, test. And here they come. And this will just keep going over and over again. That one jumps up there. Okay, it looks like it's going back up, but I can assure you it's working right. Okay, so let's make sure it's working right, improve it. Go back to the main timeline. Make sure all the layers are locked, which they are. Unlock the border layer. That's the one with the head red. Pick up your selection tool and highlight it. You can see it's right fuzzy. Get that crosshairs. Right click, copy. I'm copying that border. Lock that border layer. Select this SQ7 layer. Insert a layer. Call it BG as in background, BG. Let's come up here. You see where it says 100%? Let's make that 50% for a minute. I want my rectangle tool again, right there. And let's have let's make this red, this stroke red. That's the outside of my rectangle. And let's make the inside of my rectangle some color we're not using yet. And I'm going to pick this crazy yellow here. Just make a rectangle. Doesn't matter how big it is. Pick up your selection tool. Highlight that yellow rectangle. Open this properties panel. Unlock this chain. See, it's unlocked now. Make the width 520. That's the size of my stage. 520. And make the height 440. 440. Enter. Close that properties panel. Open up your alignment panel. Again, yours is under the window. And make sure this has a check mark in it. Click here and click here. Now, if you did it right, you still have copied that original square. So come over here, right click, paste in place. If you don't have this, go back to where we went to that border and copied it. Pick up your selection tool, click the center of it, and you see that center gets right fuzzy. Hit your delete button on your screen. And now when we test it, you can see they're only inside of this block. And where it looked like they were jumping before, it's a smooth transition now. Okay, so back to the main timeline. And I don't want to see this yellow because it's easier for me to do what I need to do and have that on my way. So right here, you see this eyeball. Come down to where the eyeball is for the background and click that, and that color disappears while we're working on it so I can see what I need to see. I think that's enough for this first tutorial. There's going to be a follow-up. It'll be Flash CS6 Tutorial 7 Falling Target Game Part 2. If you plan on doing that second part, make sure you save this FLA. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learn.